Hello, hello. I think we are live. I'm just waiting for things to stop spinning on my screen. So just bear with me for a minute or two. There we go. All right. Hello, hi. I'm Bree Boucher, and I'm so excited to be here today, talking all things tapping, and in particular, how to transform your life. Now, before I get started, I wanted to acknowledge that I am hosting this session from the lands of the Ngunnawal people. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are gathering today, and I would like to acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this session. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Hello, I've got a couple of people saying hi, which is awesome. I actually did a live yesterday and I didn't see the comments come through, so I'm glad that they're coming through on my screen. I don't need my iPad to help out with that. All right, so I did want to thank the beautiful Melissa for creating this beautiful, amazing summit and for allowing me to join her and all these other fantastic practitioners. I am so glad that I could be part of this, and I'm really excited to share my side of like my story around tapping. So if you're watching this live, say hi for me. If you are watching the replay, please maybe do hashtag replay or whatever you want to do. You know, just say hi, whatever feels right, and just share with me how you're, how you're feeling with this session, what comes up for you, and if you have, you know, experienced tapping before. I know there's been quite a few tapping and EFT practitioners come through for the last week or almost a week. So I'm sure you've probably had an opportunity to experience tapping, but please let me know like how your experience has been. Hi Lauren, hi Catherine, and hi Melissa. Thank you so much. Okay, so quick outline of what I'm going to be talking about. We're only being on here for about 30 minutes. We'll just see how we go. So I want to talk to you about my experience with tapping, my story, and what I do, who I am, and how you can use tapping to transform your life, and how that I have done that as well, and with my clients to transform their lives. Um, we'll also run through a tapping script that I've previously written, and this one's about finding your purpose. And that's pretty much it. Like, it's going to be a nice, short and sweet session. So how about I get into it, get started? Now, I need to remember to drink water and take breaths, and that's really important in tapping as well. Like breathing and drinking water will help flow with the energy that we need to either release or balance. So let me just take a quick sip of my water, and if you're joining me today, then please do the same. Okay, so my tapping story. Um, well, it kind of only started this year. So in February, I received my certification in a bunch of different modalities. So I am my kind of title that I call myself is a soul alignment coach. And I am certified in life and success coaching. I'm certified in neuro linguistics programming. I'm also certified in EFT as a practitioner and a hypnotherapist, clinical hypnotherapist as well. So at the start of this year in February was my official like certification in these areas, after doing a fair bit of pre-learning in all five kind of modalities. But I hadn't actually experienced tapping until this year. I hadn't tried it out. I left the learning from my certification a little bit, later than I probably should have. And so it wasn't until probably January this year that I actually first tried tapping on myself. And I'll tell you, I found it really strange. I didn't I didn't understand what I was doing, and I didn't really understand, how things were going to be different because I was just tapping on like parts of my body and repeating affirmations. Like it didn't make sense to me. Um, it wasn't until my certification and even after that that I started to like dig into, finding out a bit more about EFT and how it all works in our system, in our energy system, that I started to understand, oh, okay, this is how it's going to work. And so what I how I think of it is, because of my neurolinguistics programming training, one of the things we're taught is about how our body, when we want to shift a state that we're in, so a mental state, one of the ways to do that is to shift something in our physiology. And so you can obviously do that through jumping up and like dancing, or going for a walk, or doing some exercise, and all of that sort of stuff. But I find that tapping is also another way for us to change our physiology. We're obviously also like moving our hands around, tapping parts of our body, but we're moving the energy within our system. And so I found that using tapping for myself, because I learnt, obviously, I wanted to feel how it worked for myself and feeling confident before I started using it with my clients. I noticed that, yeah, I was having quite a profound experience with it. And if I was actually doing it over a course of, a week or so, I would really notice something that would change within myself. You can actually, like, the way I do tapping, I will do, so I have two versions of how I tap. One version is to reframe, and so that's again a bit of an NLP technique. So with my clients, I will have them talk through a problem that they're dealing with, and we'll establish the level of intensity that they're feeling around that problem. We will then start to tap on the negative beliefs or limiting beliefs that they have in that area, and get their level of intensity down from, anywhere from 10, where 10 is like heightened anxiety, you're not leaving your room, things are really dramatic for you and quite stressful. And then we bring that down to a level of 1 intensity. And once we're at that level of 1, we will then start to bring in the positive affirmations and the positive statements that are relevant to their situation. So that is one way that I'll actually tap with my clients, and that's one of the ways that I've really kind of like honed my craft, I suppose, in tapping. And I really enjoy creating scripts for people and writing scripts for my clients. But I think that it's a lot more powerful when the words are coming from, your own words and the words that you're using. And so one way that we can combat that is, I'll have my clients, write out a list of 8 different things that they're feeling about this particular problem, and we'll work through, some vocabulary that makes it more suited to releasing the negative beliefs. And then we'll work through the positive and write out 8 affirmations, and I'll help them just sort of fine tune those affirmations. So the one that I'll be running through today around purpose is something that I've written that kind of suits the way I think about purpose, or how I used to think about purpose, or how some of my clients have told me that they feel about, finding their purpose. And so you might find that some of the words that I use don't really ring true to you. And so um, this is how, as a practitioner, I can create, scripts that are more aligned with, individual clients. And like I said before, we can work on like honing those reframes together. So in terms of my story with tapping, it's only a short one, as I said. I'm still very much honing my craft and, like establishing what I like to do. So I talked a lot about looking at it from like a negative practice and then turning it into positive. Another way that I like to tap is just focusing in on positive affirmations. And I find that when I do those with clients, just as like a kind of, it's a nice sort of mood reset. There's obviously quite a bit of improvement in energy that is being created between the two of us, or in a group as well. It's perfect. So I personally, yeah, I do like to do both. I definitely started to do the positive affirmations once following Gala Darling. I find her to be very inspirational in terms of like putting tapping out there into the world. So if anyone has watched some of Gala's videos, or her she's got some audio tracks that she puts up onto Instagram and stuff like that. There's some beautiful stuff out there that you can just start diving into. Now, yeah, I think that if I start to talk about like how you can use tapping to transform your life, as I was sort of saying before, it's very much around those mindset shifts. That one was a bit of a tongue twister, wasn't it? Um, so we can use tapping to change our mindset, and not only about like our mental state, using that to like physically change how we're feeling about things, but by using reframing, we can start to shift people's beliefs around a certain problem that they're dealing with. So yeah, I think that for me, it's a very useful way to really kind of, in my view, quite quickly move people through, how they're feeling about something. Sometimes it might take a few goes around the negative affirmations, the negative statements. But basically, like we're finding that people will drop down pretty quickly in that first round. And I know that some practitioners actually only do like full negative like statements and tapping around that, and that in itself will have such a huge like impact to people. I'm just going to check there's no questions at this stage, because haven't seen too many coming up live, but let me know if anyone's got any questions about my version of tapping. So Lauren's saying, yes, reframing is a great technique. Like I said, when I do teach my clients tapping, it's really around the reframing, because it's sort of hitting two things at once. And I have these worksheets and free. I actually have some free tapping worksheets that I'm happy to send out for anyone that would like one. Might drop the link through at the end of this as well. But if there's no questions, then I will actually start to go through the powerful, what's the purpose, finding your purpose script. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have the negative affirmation. So we're going to actually do the full cycle. And so we will be tapping on the karate chop point as a starting point. And then we'll go through the negatives until we find that that's sort of at a nice level balance. So if you're watching this live and you feel like you want to tap on those negative statements for a little bit longer, then maybe just pause it and come back to it, or on the replay, pause it and rewind and start again. So one of the things that I notice with different practitioners is we all sort of start in different locations, or we have different points that we tap on. Um, so the way I have been taught is to always start on the eyebrow. So that point there between the eyebrow and then bridge of your nose, and then going through. So going through to the side of the eye on the bony part here, under the eye, also on that bony point, under the nose, on the chin, in our collarbone area. So the point between our collarbone and our first rib, there's sort of like this little softer point. That's actually where we're tapping. Under the armpit, so directly under the armpit in line with our breast. And then on top of our head. Now, on top of our head, there's a lot of different. Oh, hey, Beck. There's a lot of different. Thanks for joining me. On top of our head, there's a lot of different nerve endings. So it's not like, you're not going to get it too wrong unless you like start tapping over here. I don't know. But I did. One of the things that just reminded me is there's another point where we can tap for our pineal gland, which is actually where our intuition is said to reside. So you can tap here for, like, in your third eye, for connecting into intuition. And I have seen some people do that by holding their hand over their ears and just tapping. I can't really do it for my little piggy tails, but holding their hand over their ears and then letting their fingers hit sort of that bony part behind in your head, and that kind of like reverberates into that zone in our head where the pineal gland is. So that was just a little bit of an extra piece of information that I felt like I needed to talk about, apparently. And there are a few points on our hands as well. So thumb points, some fingers, and then here as well. But I don't actually tap on those generally. You can start to really hone in onto some points, but for certain releases or certain balances. But I tend to just go with like the head down and back up to the head. So now, possibly the people, I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah. Was that which points, like the hands or the back of the head or front of the head, Beck? I'm curious now. So yes, I was just going to say that a lot of people in here might feel like they have their purpose already, like decided and worked out, and they know exactly what they're doing. And so you might find that perhaps this particular tapping session isn't really for you. Now, that's completely okay. I think that sometimes what I find, and as I was saying before, with what I do, and my, like, all of my tools in my belt, um, I am really focused on helping people find their purpose. And so what happens is when we have people finding their purpose, sometimes they get a little bit off track and find that the path has sort of like started to disappear into the distance, and aren't able to like realign with it. And so that's something that I'm very focused on in my coaching, in my practice, like um, in my tapping, and all of the bits and pieces, the hypnosis, all of it, all of that I bring together is to support people not only to find their purpose, but to continue to live in their purpose. So whilst this tapping is specifically written to find your purpose, it's still, once we get into that sort of like the positive affirmations, we can start to focus a little bit more on, how we're going to continue to live in our purpose. All right. So with all of that in mind, I would like you to just take some time and measure the level of intensity that you feel around, finding your purpose. Feeling that, if you have a belief that you have no purpose, or that your purpose isn't clear to you at the moment, and just sort of hone in on that. And we're looking at from a level of 10 to 1. And so, 10 is, like I was saying before, super anxious. Like you're not leaving your house. Things are like dire straits over here, through to 1 where you're pretty chilled about your purpose. You feel like you are like living the dream and everything is working for you. So have a bit of a feel out, um, how you feel around that, and just note that in yourself. Because, like I said, we'll get through the first negative round of negative affirmations, and we'll just reset where we're feeling about that. So while you're doing that, I'm going to take a quick sip of my water, take some deep breaths, and I'll get you to do the same as well when you have decided your level of intensity. Okay, so just noticing that level of intensity, I'm going to start on the karate chop point and tapping the following statement 3 times. And if you can repeat after me. Even though I have this belief that I have no purpose, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this belief that I have no purpose, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this belief that I have no purpose, I deeply and completely accept myself. Bex just distracted me with, she said, no peppermint tea today. No, I thought I would change it up a little bit. I always have peppermint tea for my lives. Don't know why I didn't do it today, but we'll see. There's always a reason. Okay, so now we're going to start with our negative statements. And so with negative statements, we're looking to release. When we're looking at the positives, we're looking to balance. So we are releasing this energy around how we feel about our purpose. I have no idea what my purpose is. I am scared to share my soul's truest desires. I don't feel comfortable letting people see the true me. My family and friends will judge me if I live in my authentic self. I don't know what I want to do with my life. What if everyone thinks I'm crazy to want this life? Nothing feels right. How will I know if it's my purpose? I will never find my purpose. Deep breath in. Okay, so I wanted to mention one thing, other than the fact that my crystal bracelets were making a fair bit of noise when I was tapping. Um, One thing is that notice if you take a deep breath on a particular statement, often when I notice that within myself, sometimes certain statements have a bit of a physical reaction to me. And so notice if you do that, whether you have or did have a larger breath in, almost like considering and connecting with that feeling, because that means that something has connected with for you, around that. So I think what we'll do is I'll just check with everyone that we want to do it one more time. um, if you're at a level of, let's say, before it was 7, now you might be a 3, we still want to go through another round until we get to level 1. And once we're at level 1, that is when we will move into the positive affirmations. So you might find that you need to run through this particular sequence a couple of times until you feel like you have released enough around that negative feeling. Beck just said, yeah, I did, and it was a bit surprising. And Mel says, yawning is another sign that we are connecting and releasing. Yeah, exactly. So some people have different ways that they feel. Like sneezing was one of the ways that I used to. I don't do it so much more, but like I noticed that like my energy would change. Um, I sometimes have little burps, so apologies if I do. And so there's ways that like our body is sort of releasing that energy. So yes, I've definitely heard of yawning and seen yawning be a thing as well. So it's quite interesting how our body kind of like connects or releases energy. All right, so let's go through one more time on those negative statements. So we're just going to notice the level of intensity again and take a deep breath in and get started. All right. I have no idea what my purpose is. I am scared to share my soul's truest desires. I don't feel comfortable letting people see the true me. My family and friends will judge me if I live in my authentic self. I don't know what I want to do with my life. What if everyone thinks I'm crazy to want this life? Nothing feels right. How will I know if it's my purpose? I will never find my purpose. Deep breath in and out. Okay, so let's now assume that everyone has leveled down to level 1, and we're going to start to bring in the positive affirmations. And so I like to do this just to kind of like finish off and, like we are talking about before, reframing how we're feeling. So I think of the negatives as something that we are releasing, and our positives something that we're balancing in our system or in ourself. So please join me with this one, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. I am completely confident in myself and I have all the resources I need. My life is turning out exactly as I've planned. I am in tune with my soul's desires and I fully accept them. My family and friends love and accept me, regardless of the choices I make towards my soul's purpose. My family and friends love and accept me, regardless of the choices I make towards my soul's purpose. My purpose will come through taking action towards my dreams. I intuitively already know my soul's purpose. I am comfortable living my true, authentic self. I am honest with myself and allow my purpose to come to me when I'm ready to learn it. Okay, so that was my tapping session around finding a purpose in and living your life as you see fit, basically. So I'd love to know if anyone went through that with me, how you're feeling now. And I'm just going to close off really quickly and just say that if this has brought up anything for you around your purpose or wanting to stay a little bit on path around your truest soul's desires, your soul alignment, all of that good stuff, then I do have a couple of ways you can work with me on that in particular. Now I have a group that's sort of like a bit of a hybrid group slash mastermind, in that it's a Facebook group where you can join and you'll receive full access to the whole course of the Powerful Purpose method that I have created. It is a six module course. There are six workbooks and a number of different resources, whether it's EFT tapping sessions, hypnosis sessions, lots of videos and audio tracks and stuff like that that's available through this particular program. The program itself, as I said, is like a course that you can opt in at any time, and you can stay in it for as long as you need. So we do fortnightly group coaching sessions so we can work through specific things that you're going through as you work through this method. It's a method that I created for myself and have been delivering to clients, and I'm really happy to say I have had a fully 100% success rate with this, with helping people find their purpose, and it's quite a profound experience when you can really see, that you can follow your truest heart's desires, and things can start to play out for you. So if you're interested in joining the group, it is currently available on a lifetime membership access pass. So I only have 3 more spots left at that one-off price point, and that is $222, and that gets you, like I said, lifetime access to all of the content and the fortnightly group calls. The other way to join, and it will change into a membership based system once the 3 more spots have gone. It will be a membership where you can opt into every month, and that is $22 a month. So quite a good price, if I do say so myself, to access all of the content that is available, and the group coaching in itself is quite a good investment for. So that is one sort of aspect on how you can work with me. I also do have one-on-one coaching. We go through purpose as well, but we can also look at mindset mastery. So we can use NLP or hypnosis tapping, coaching, like all different modalities in order to find, a new way of viewing the world for you. So I'm very much about transforming people's lives and helping them to stay on path and on track in their life that they want to have. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. And unless there was any questions about who I am, what I do, and my way of tapping, I will leave it here. Went a little bit over time, went a little bit longer than I thought, but sometimes that happens. So thank you for joining me. And if you're watching the replay and you have some questions, just know that I'll come back in and answer any questions you have. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at the Reboucher. On Facebook, it's Reboucher as well. And I have just launched a podcast as well. So lots of ways you can access me and get to know me. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me and hosting me on this summit. It was really fun. And yeah, I will see you all later. See ya.